Hello and welcome, or welcome back to Big Bad Bat Reps. This is installment number 3. We got my Beastmen against Kyle's High Elves. We rolled up a Blood and Glory scenario. This is the last week of 1,500 points in the campaign. Evil's still doing pretty good. We're ahead on them by a lot of tiles and threatening their capitals. We took one last week, and I'm knocking on the door this week. Um, the army I'm playing this week has me a little bit worried. Kyle's running MSU High Elves. He has a decent amount of shooting with his archers and bolt throwers, but a lot of smaller mobile units that really pack a punch and hit before I do. So we'll see how it pans out. My list is pretty much the same. I shuffled a little bit of equipment. I still got my level 3 Great Bray Shaman. He's still running Beasts. Gave him an additional hand weapon. My BSB with 1-up rerollable armor. The 4 Chariots, 2 units of Raiders. 29 Bestigor, Standard of Discipline. Again, I'm broadcasting Leadership 9 for Primal Fury, which is really good. The smaller unit of Bestigor with the Standard, and 2 Razor Gore. He's running Lore Master of Hoeth with the Book of Hoeth. He has him in some archers. Unit of 5 Reavers, 6 Silver Helms, 2 units of White Lions, each with the Standard, 2 units of 12 Swordmasters, each with Standard, and 2 Bolt Throwers. It is Blood and Glory scenario, so I'm going to have to get after those small units, and it's going to be a tough one, I think. For magic, I roll up Wissen's Wild Form, Pan's Impenetrable Pelt, and the Savage Beast of Horos. These are all right. I would have liked to get my hands on Flock of Doom for attacking some of those low toughness elves, or Curse of Anra here to make a -1 to hit, to make him a little less effective in combat, but this is what I got. He is running Lore Master of Hoeth. He knows all the SIG spells from all the 8 basic lores in the rulebook. So turn 1, Beastmen win the roll to go first. I think I had like 1 or 2 more drops than him, but I rolled a 6 to go first. I move up pretty aggressively. I need to get into combat with stuff and get after those standards to win this scenario here. His unit of Reavers is up there. That is where he vanguarded him prior. I move my Ungors up to provide a little bit of cover against shooting. It's not much, but it helps. It was really important for me to get first turn here, just because it let me move up and avoid 1 turn of shooting from the High Elves on the way in. He doesn't have a ton of shooting, the 2 Bolt Throwers and the Archers, but they can do some damage. Winds of Magic is 7 to 4. My opponent really only cares about Wissen's Wild Form from my end. Everything else isn't really going to come into play until combat situations. So I throw a couple dice at Wissen's. He dispels. I have a few left over. I get Pan's Impenetrable Pelt on my Great Bray Shaman for fun. Shooting, there's not much, but these Ungors on the right flank let loose some shots at the Silver Helms. They need 6s to hit. They wound 2 times, and he fails both of his armor saves. And promptly panics. He doesn't roll that far for panic. I was hoping he'd run through those White Lions and panic that side off, but that's a little bit greedy. But nonetheless, they're hopefully out of the game for a turn. High Elf turn 1, the Silver Helms rally. And not much movement from him. He shuffles about, does the little High Elf thing. For shooting, he shoots his archers at the Ungor there in the front, killing 3 of them. One of his bolt throwers shoots at that chariot to the right of the large unit of Bestigor and does a wound to it. And the other bolt thrower, not having any good shots, really just decides to shoot the rest of the Ungor down, hoping for some panic. I got rerollable 9 and I pass all my panic tests. Magic is 4 to 2. He throws all his dice at Spirit Leech, and I use my Dispel Scroll. Beastmen turn 2. I charge my 2 Chariots and the Razor Gore that were on my left flank into the Illyrian Reavers where he had moved them over here. It's quite a bit of distance to those White Lions and the Swordmasters, but with some good overruns, I could get in there, which may or may not be a good thing. On the right flank, I declare a charge with my Ungor Raiders against the White Lions. I need like an 11 to get there. Just trying to get him out of the way. Hopefully that Razorgore then, he declares a charge on the Silver Helms, and he's in their flank. He can do some damage there, but I roll really poor with my Ungor Raiders and don't get him out of the way for the Razorgore, so he fails his charge and is stuck behind them. And my big blocks move up, kind of covering angles, trying to keep everything in my front, and the chariots move up to do some assists in the later turns. Here's another look at Beastmen turn 2 movement. Everything's kind of moved up. The chariots are into the Reavers there. Hopefully they can get some good overruns. Magic is 10 to 5. We're doing that feinty thing. I get Pan's Impenetrable Pelt off on my GBS. He lets it go. I get Savage Beast off on my BSB, and he lets it go. I throw the rest of my dice at Wissens on one of the Bestigor groups. I don't roll very good. I get like 23. He rolls all of his dice and fails, but then he's got the Book of Hoth and rerolls one of the die and gets 23 to successfully dispel. Combat on the left side goes as expected. Between the two chariots, I do 11 impact hits and blow up those Reavers. Overrun, I don't get into any of the high health units there, but I do roll like a 8, a 7, and a 5 for my overruns, and they're kind of staggered a bit there, so that may help me. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out. This is the only pick I have of High Elf turn 2. He charges the White Lions into the Chariot, the Swordmasters into the Razorgore. It looks kind of tough there. Everything else just kind of does the High Elf shuffle. Winds of Magic, he rolls Snake Eyes 2 to 1. He rolls 2 dice at Wissens on those Swordmasters. And I can't dispel with 1, so they're all Wissens up. Shooting, a Bolt Thrower multi-shots the Razorgore through some cover on the right flank for 1 wound. The other Bolt Thrower multi-shots one of my Chariots that's unengaged for 3 wounds. I think I saved 1. And the Archers try to finish off the Chariot but are unable to wound it. Combat here goes as expected. The White Lions destroy the Chariot, but the Swordmasters kind of whiff on their attacks, and the Razorgore sticks on Leadership 9. He's in range of the BSB. So, Beastmen turn 3. The Swordmasters failed to dispatch that Razorgore last turn, so they're stuck there now, and I charge in my Chariot and the unit of Bestigor on them. They're Wissens, which is kind of a problem, but hopefully I can do enough impact hits on the charge. We'll see how that pans out. Bit of a blurry photo here, but the failed charge games continue on the right flank. I charge my Ungor Raiders at the White Lions this time. They fail, and the Razorgore then fails because they don't roll high enough to get out of the way. That Razorgore is chomping at the bit to get into those Silver Helms, though. Rest of Beastman movement looks like this. Advance that large Bestigor unit to cover. I want everything there in my front, so he kind of has to pick and choose. The Chariots move up. I don't know how smart that was, but we'll have to wait and see. They're hoping if something charges in the Bestigor, they're hoping to countercharge into their flank. Hopefully that works. Winds of Magic is 9 to 6. We're still playing that game where all he cares about is Wissens, so I get Pan's Impenetrable Pelt and Savage Beast of Horos off on my Great Bray, as he is kind of staring down a whole bunch of High Elf stuff, and he needs that for defense and offense as well, and he dispels Wissens. Combat on the left flank with the Swordmasters. The Chariot does 5 impact hits and kills a bunch. Oh, he actually fails Fear on this one from the Razorgore, so he's Weapon Skill 1. That helps a ton. The impact hits was big enough to do some stuff, and the failing Fear, he doesn't do many wounds to me. I break him. You can see he runs past his Bolt Thrower there, which passes its panic. But I pursue and reform. I pursue with my Bestigor and reform with my Chariot to keep the White Lions at bay for a turn, hopefully. That little blue die on the to the rear of the Vestigore is to denote that they have seized a standard. They have a special rule that for every standard they seize, they get +1 cumulative combat res moving forward in the game. So that's pretty cool. Here's another pick of the White Lions breaking from combat and the Beastmen kind of crashing down on the High Elves. I've gotten into their grill like I planned to, but these next couple turns are going to be crucial because he has a lot of combat coming in there. And I've managed to get my Bestigor units in there without sustaining many casualties, so hopefully there's enough there to do some damage. High Elf turn 3, the White Lions charge the chariot as expected. That chariot's not going to live, and I'm going to have those White Lions on my flank. Hopefully I can do something about that. He also charges the White Lions and Swordmasters into the Bestigor, charges the Silverhelms into the one chariot there, and shuffles his archers around a bit. This is going to kind of be where we decide what happens. It's combat time. Here we go. He has a decent magic phase as far as the dice roll goes. I can't remember what it was. He throws a couple dice at Ice Shard Blizzard on this combat. I don't want to be -1 to hit, even with Primal Fury rerolls, and I definitely don't want to be at -1 leadership should I lose this combat. So I dispel that. I dispel Spirit Leech on my BSB from the Lore Master and the Archers, and with his last couple dice, he fails to cast Wissons on the Swordmasters there. There's not much for shooting. The bolt throwers shoot and kill 2 Bestigor from the smaller unit. The archers, I think, also shoot, and there's just not much damage happening there. They need 5s to wound. Combat. The Silverhelms destroy that one chariot. It only had 1 wound left. They overrun into the second chariot, which is not good, but they're kind of, I don't have anything back there for them to go get, so hopefully that's not that bad of a deal. The white Lions promptly dispatch that chariot. I'm looking at like 9 attacks. They're hitting on 3s. It's just destroyed. No chance at that. Then we're going to move on to the big combat in the middle where it matters. And this one's pretty bloody. He had his Swordmasters there. A couple of them had to attack the Great Bray. He doesn't take any wounds. You can see a couple ranks peeled off. He kills 10 Bestigor between his White Lions and the Swordmasters, who have 2 attacks each. In return, the Great Bray Shaman's got Savage Beast on him. He gets a lot of attacks, goes to town on the Swordmasters. The Bestigor do their best job to clean up the Swordmasters. I win this combat by 2. The Swordmasters break from combat. I can't pursue them. There's only, well, there were 2 left. His banner goes away. And the White Lions are stubborn, so they're going to stick there for another turn. But bonus time, when the Swordmasters break from combat, they're within 6 inches of his Lore Master bunker. They fail their panic test and run off the board. Did not see that coming, but I'll definitely take it, as that is his general and another standard now gone. We make a small rules error here. With those 2 standards leaving, he's now left with just the 2 standards and the White Lions. And we had assumed that breaking point at 1500 was 1. We continue to play, even though in reality breaking point is 2, and he would have lost the game right here. But we continue to play. So my dual charge thing finally works. I charge the Ungor Raiders at the top of the screen there. You can't see them very well. I charge them at a bolt thrower and fail, but they get enough out of the way where the Razorgore can then make his charge on the flank of the White Lions. He's got to go around that rock a bit, but it works. Magic. I didn't write it down here. I think I get Savage Beast of Horos off on my BSB, and that's about it. But we're grinding these Wood Elves down, or High Elves rather. The Bestigor charge into the Bolt Thrower, and I think they're going to overrun into those Swordmasters that rallied in a prior turn. The White Lions, his kind of last remaining combat unit left, are over on the left side, but out of the way for now. So it's pretty much cleanup time. The White Lions fail their fear test. They get beat up really bad. Um, they end up, he's got one or two left. He actually fails his break test then. Um, I seize the standard, and then that breaks him. We call it here. The Bestigor do destroy, the Bolt Thrower and Overrun of the Sword Masters. Inconsequential.